I was looking at my phone this morning, just doing the usual doom scroll with my coffee, and I realized something um honestly pretty terrifying.
Oh, yeah. What was the epiphany?
Well, by the time I've had my first sip of coffee, I've probably seen 50 headlines, 3 breaking news videos, and maybe a dozen hot takes from people I don't even follow.
Right. It's like drinking from a fire hose.
Exactly. The sheer velocity of it is just staggering. I mean, a video gets uploaded, and 10 minutes later it's viral.
It reaches millions.
Millions of eyeballs.
Ah.
And that happens before a single human being is actually stopped to check if it's real.
It really is busying. We're dealing with a velocity of information that our biological hardware just wasn't built for.
Hmm.
I mean, we're trying to process a global digital torrent with brains that evolved to track gossip in a village of 150 people.
And that mismatch, that's exactly what we're digging into today.
Yeah.
We've got a really fascinating stack of research here for this deep dive into digital discernment.
It's such a critical topic.
It is. Because the mission today isn't just to sit here and say fake news is bad. We all know that. The mission is to figure out how to survive in this landscape.
Survival is absolutely the right framing here.
Yeah, the source material makes a pretty aggressive claim right off the bat. It says critical thinking isn't just an intellectual exercise anymore. It is a survival skill.
Because if you can't distinguish truth from lies online, you are effectively navigating the world blindfolded. The cost of being fooled isn't just looking silly at a dinner party anymore.
No, it affects your health, your finances, democracy, everything.
Everything. And I think to start, we really need to cut through the noise on the terminology. Because we hear these words, misinformation and disinformation, thrown around like they're the exact same thing.
I used to use them interchangeably, to be honest.
A lot of people do.
But the deep dive material makes a very hard distinction here. It's not about the content itself. It's about the intent.
That is the crucial pivot point. Intent is everything. Misinformation is essentially a mistake.
Like your aunt sharing a meme she actually thinks is funny and true.
Right, or a breaking news report getting a minor detail wrong in the chaos of the moment. It's false, but it's innocent. The person sharing it genuinely believes it.
It's an error. But disinformation, that's the cold, calculated stuff.
It's a weapon. Disinformation is false information shared intentionally to mislead, to gain power, make money, or, and this is the darkest part sometimes, just to create division.
The source material highlights that a lot of disinformation isn't even trying to make you believe a specific lie.
No, it's trying to make you doubt everything.
That is such a frightening thought.
Yeah.
The goal isn't to convince me that X is true. It's to make me feel like the truth is totally unknowable.
Which leads to cynicism. And eventually, you just disengage. I mean, if you can't know it's true, you stop trying.
And that's where the bad actors win. So we're up against people who are using this as a deliberate strategy. Let's look at the mechanics of how they actually do it, because it's not just some guy in a basement typing out lies. It's highly structural. We have to talk about the algorithm.
The invisible editor.
Yes, we all know about echo chambers, right? The idea that the app shows me what I like. If I like cat videos, I get more cats.
Sure.
But the research points out something much more specific than just giving us what we like. It's about engagement through validation.
It is. You see, the algorithm is designed with one primary goal to keep you on the platform. And the absolute easiest way to do that is to feed you content that confirms what you already suspect is true.
So if you're anxious about the economy, it feeds you doom.
Right. If you're angry at a specific political group, it feeds you reasons to be angrier.
It's like a mirror that only shows you what you want to see.
And that creates this consensus reality for you. When every single post in your feed agrees with a certain viewpoint, your brain's pattern-matching software kicks in. You naturally think, well, everyone is saying this, so it must be true.
But everyone is just the tiny slice of the internet the algorithm has curated for you.
Exactly.
But here's the thing that really stuck with me from the reading. It's not just that the algorithm is guessing what we like. It's that disinformation is specifically engineered to hack our biology. They call it the emotional hack.
This is fascinating stuff. The research breaks down exactly which emotions make things go viral.
And spoiler alert for everyone listening, it's not happiness.
No, not at all. It's the high arousal emotions. Anger, fear, outrage, shock.
We have concrete data on this. Content that evokes those high arousal emotions spreads significantly faster and further than neutral or even positive content.
Because if a post makes your heart race, if it makes you absolutely furious, your biological impulse is to do something with that pent-up energy.
Right, and on social media, the to-do is share.
It's a purely physical reaction.
It really is. I see something that makes me mad, and I want to scream it from the rooftops. I want to warn my friends. Like, can you believe they did this? And boom.
You've just become a vector for the virus.
I'm doing exactly what the disinformation agent wanted me to do.
Precisely. They aren't selling facts. They are selling a feeling. If you are reading something and you feel your pulse go up, that is a massive red flag. That emotional spike is the payload.
It's almost like we need a smartwatch that tracks our rage, and if it goes over a certain level, it just locks our retweet button.
Honestly, that would probably solve half the internet's problems right there.
But since we don't have that, we have to deal with the psychological tricks on our own. Have you ever heard of the illusory truth effect?
I have. It's basically the idea that if you repeat a lie enough times, it literally starts to sound like the truth.
It's startlingly simple. The human brain uses familiarity as a shortcut for truth.
Right, because processing new information takes a lot of cognitive energy.
Exactly. Processing something familiar is easy. So when you see a headline for the 5th time, even if you know it was debunked the first time you saw it, your brain goes, oh, I know this. This is familiar.
And it files it away as probable truth. The sheer volume of repetition just wears down your logical resistance.
It overrides your logic entirely. And then you layer on the visual trickery. We used to have this saying, seeing is believing.
That is an incredibly dangerous mindset now.
It really is. We're seeing this with fake authority. The sources talked about how incredibly easy it is to clone a credible look online. You slap a generic official-looking logo on a website, you use a font that looks exactly like a major newspaper.
Put a guy in a suit in the profile picture.
Right, and suddenly it looks legitimate.
It's the clipboard effect. If you walk into a restricted building with a clipboard and look confident, people just assume you're supposed to be there.
Online, if a site has a bold breaking news banner and a sleek web design, we immediately lower our guard.
But the technology is moving way past just static websites now. We have to talk about deep fakes and AI.
This is where it gets really sci-fi. We aren't just talking about mildly photoshopped images anymore. We're talking about AI-generated video and audio that is nearly indistinguishable from reality.
And the danger isn't just that we will believe the fakes. It goes back to that idea of creating chaos. There's a concept called the liar's dividend.
Oh, this is such a crucial concept. Let's explain that for everyone.
So as deepfakes become more and more common, people naturally become skeptical of everything they see.
Sure, which sounds like a good thing at first.
Right, but the liar's dividend is the benefit that bad actors get from this exact skepticism. If a real video comes out showing a politician or a CEO doing something terrible, they can just shrug and say, that's a deepfake, that's AI.
Wow. And because we all know AI exists, a large chunk of the population will just believe them.
Exactly. So the very existence of fake evidence actually helps powerful people deny real evidence.
It completely destabilizes the concept of objective proof.
It's a real mess.
Okay, so we have algorithms trapping us in echo chambers. We have emotions hacking our biology. And AI dismantling our shared reality. It feels pretty hopeless.
It can feel overwhelming.
And I think a lot of people listening right now might be thinking, well, that's terrible for other people, but I'm smart, I have a degree, I don't fall for this stuff.
Yes, the not me fallacy.
I am 100% guilty of this. I consider myself very media literate. But last year, during that massive hurricane, I saw a photo of a shark swimming down a flooded highway.
Oh, the classic highway shark.
Yes, and for a solid 10 seconds, I was like, oh my God, climate change is crazy. I was literally about to send it to my group chat.
Yeah.
Then I realized, wait, I've seen that exact shark before.
It's the same shark they Photoshop into every single flood since 2012.
Every flood.
Yeah.
But I hesitated. That's the key. My initial reaction was totally normal.
It is normal. And here is the really uncomfortable truth from the research. Intelligence does not make you immune to disinformation.
In fact, the source material says high intelligence can sometimes make you more vulnerable.
Yes.
Wait, let's unpack that. How does being smart make you more vulnerable? That seems entirely counterintuitive.
Because smart people are really, really good at rationalizing.
Oh, I see.
If a smart person sees a piece of fake news that confirms their bias, something they really want to believe, they can use their intelligence to build a highly complex argument for why it absolutely must be true.
They perform mental gymnastics.
Exactly. They can justify it much better than someone who isn't quite as clever.
So we actually use our brain power to defend the lie rather than dismantle it.
It's called motivated reasoning, and it is heavily fueled by confirmation bias.
We treat information that supports our team like a friend. We just let it right in the front door, No questions asked.
But we treat information that hurts our team like an enemy combatant. We demand ID, we check their pockets, we interrogate them for hours.
That explains so much about internet arguments. And all of this gets exponentially worse when we're stressed. The source material talks about how disinformation spikes during moments of crisis.
Absolutely. Think about a natural disaster or a terrifying global news event. We are scared. We are desperate for answers.
Our cognitive defenses are completely down because we are in survival mode.
And that is exactly when the vultures circle. They know that in a vacuum of reliable information, people will accept almost anything that feels like an answer.
We turn to our tribes for safety. The research calls it in-group trust. If my best friend shares it, I trust it.
You outsource the verification to them, you assume they checked it, and they assume the person they got it from checked it.
It's a bucket brigade of blind trust, and the bucket is just full of sludge.
That's a great way to put it, and usually there's a timer attached to that bucket, the urgency trap.
Right, you see phrases like, share this before they take it down, or act now.
Urgency is the absolute enemy of thought. If someone is rushing you, they're almost certainly trying to trick you. Salespeople know this, con artists know this, and disinformation agents know this.
Okay, so we've thoroughly diagnosed the disease here, and it's pretty widespread. But the deep dive source material actually gives us a really solid toolkit. It's not just telling us to be smarter, it offers specific things we can do.
Let's open up the toolbox.
What is the very first line of defense?
It starts with source inspection. Now, this doesn't just mean looking at the URL, though. You definitely should do that to make sure it's not something like cnn.co instead of cnn.com.
Right, checking for slight misspellings.
But the real pro tip here is a technique called lateral reading.
Lateral reading. I love this concept. What does that actually look like for the user?
Well, most people read vertically. They land on a web page, and they scroll down the page to see if it makes sense. They look at the About section on that specific site to see who the authors are.
But a fake site is obviously going to have a fantastic About section.
Exactly. It's like asking a known liar if they're an honest person. They're going to say yes.
So what's the alternative?
Lateral reading means you open a new tab, you leave the site entirely.
You read across, horizontally.
Yes. You search for the name of the organization or the author outside of their own little bubble. See what Wikipedia says about them. See what other reputable news outlets say about them. You judge the source by what others say, not what it says about itself.
That is such a simple switch, but I bet 90% of people don't do it. Just open a new tab.
It takes 30 seconds, and it literally saves you from being a pawn.
The next tool is tone analysis.
Yeah.
We joked earlier about the all caps guys, but there's a real nuance here too.
It goes right back to that emotional hack we discussed. Reliable journalism generally tries to be neutral. It presents the facts.
So if a headline is screaming at you, using loaded words like destroys, humiliates, or shocking plot,
it is not news. It is entertainment or it's propaganda. If the headline is actively telling you how you should feel, it's probably lying to you about the facts.
or at least heavily manipulating them, then you have the check of evidence versus assertion.
I really love this distinction.
It's so helpful. An assertion is just a claim, like, the mayor stole $1 million.
Okay, says who? Where are the receipts for that? Reliable information provides links to primary documents. It provides quotes from named verifiable sources. It provides data sets.
If it's just a super dramatic story with no hyperlinks and a bunch of anonymous sources, you really have to treat it as fiction until proven otherwise.
Precisely.
I always think of the Carl Sagan rule here. Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. If you're telling me something that shatters my entire worldview, you better have more than a blurry screenshot of a text message.
That is the perfect mindset. And that leads directly to the rule of multiples, cross-checking.
This is my personal go-to. If a massive story is breaking, like, let's say, aliens have landed, and only one obscure blog is reporting it.
The aliens probably haven't landed. In the modern world, news organizations are incredibly competitive. If a massive story is real, everyone wants it.
Right. If the BBC, Al Jazeera, Fox, and MSNBC are all totally silent, and only PatriotEagleTruth.net has the scoop.
It's not a scoop, it's a lie.
It's a motive check. You have to ask who benefits if I believe this.
Is this designed to inform me or manipulate me?
But doing all that requires us to look at multiple sources, which obviously takes time. And that brings us to the final section of our outline, protection habits. Because we can't analyze every single tweet like a forensic scientist. We need habits that just run in the background.
And the most important habit is arguably the hardest one to build. the power of the pause.
Now, I want to challenge this one a bit, just on a purely practical level. When I'm in the flow, when I'm scrolling on the couch, I'm not thinking about pausing, I'm dopamine hunting. Is just pause really actionable advice for the average person?
It's difficult, I will absolutely grant you that. It fights against the very design of the app, but you can trigger that pause by using that emotional spike we talked about earlier.
Using the anger as a trigger.
Yes. You make a rule for yourself. If I feel angry, I stop. You don't have to pause for every single recipe video or sports highlight, just the stuff that triggers you emotionally.
So the anger literally becomes the stop sign.
It has to be, because that pause breaks the viral cycle. Disinformation relies entirely on speed. If everyone just waited 10 minutes before sharing a triggering post, the viral velocity would collapse. Fact checkers would actually have time to catch up.
What about diversifying our feeds? We talked about breaking out of echo chambers.
Think of this like cross-training for your brain. You need to actively follow credible sources that disagree with your worldview.
That sounds kind of painful.
It is painful. It's genuinely annoying to see opinions you disagree with. But it keeps you honest. It forces you to see that the other side isn't just a two-dimensional caricature.
And it helps you spot when your own side is exaggerating. It inoculates you against the whole us versus them narrative.
Exactly. And finally, there's verification. Just doing a quick search before you hit share. The host in the text frames this as a civic duty. I really love that concept.
Yeah, we normally think of civic duty as voting or jury duty. But maybe today, civic duty is just not polluting the information water supply.
We are all nodes in the network. If you share a lie, you have polluted the network for your friends and family. If you verify it first, you are acting as a filter. You are actively protecting your community.
I want to pivot to the social side of this before we wrap up.
Yeah.
Because we all have their uncle or that friend from high school who posts absolute nonsense online.
We all do.
And it's always so awkward. The source materials suggest a tactic called constructive curiosity.
This is crucial because our first instinct is usually to just dunk on them. We want to comment, "That's fake, you idiot."
Which, spoiler alert, never actually changes anyone's mind.
Never. It just makes them defensive. It triggers the backfire effect where they dig in even deeper to protect their ego. Constructive curiosity means asking questions instead of making statements.
Give me an example of how that plays out.
So instead of saying, "That's a lie," you say something like, "Whoa, that sounds crazy. Where did you see that?" Or maybe, "That's super interesting, but I couldn't find that on any other site. Did you see a source for it?"
You're inviting them to check it themselves, rather than aggressively telling them they're wrong.
You are modeling the exact behavior you want them to have. You're treating them like a partner in finding the truth, not an enemy to be defeated. It immediately lowers the temperature.
And honestly, we really need to lower the temperature. Because when we zoom out, and this is how the deep dive source material wraps up, this isn't just about winning silly internet arguments.
No, the stakes are incredibly high. Disinformation erodes the actual bedrock of society.
If we can't agree on basic facts on what happened yesterday, on what the science says, we can't solve any real problems. We can't fix the economy. We can't fix healthcare. We can't have fair elections.
It turns us into warring tribes living in completely different realities.
And that is why personal responsibility is the ultimate takeaway here. You cannot wait for the tech companies to fix this. They have totally different incentives.
And you can't wait for the government to fix it either. It ultimately comes down to the user.
It comes down to discernment.
Discernment. In a world drowning in infinite information, the ability to filter, to pause, think, and check is the ultimate modern superpower. It's honestly more valuable than IQ.
I love that framing. It's a superpower anyone can learn. You don't need a radioactive spider. You just need to open a second tab.
Exactly right.
So here's a final provocative thought for you to chew on as we finish up today. We've talked about algorithms and human psychology and AI, but think about this going forward. The technology is only going to get better at lying.
It's accelerating rapidly.
AI is going to make fake content that is perfect pixel for pixel, voice for voice. In that near future, the only thing that cannot be faked is your own critical judgment. The question is, are you training your brain to be a filter, or are you just letting yourself be a funnel?
That is the defining question of our time.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Stay curious, stay skeptical, and we'll see you on the next one.